In the world of superheroes, costumes play a crucial role. They not only instill a sense of safety when they are spotted, but they also enhance a hero's ability to use their powers to the fullest. From simple equipment upgrades to outfits that blend in with the changing trends of fashion, costumes are a dynamic aspect of a superhero's identity. With that being said, let's look into the costume changes of Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. I made a short a couple months ago explaining the details of Bakugo's new winter costume, and you guys loved it. But before we get into that, I want to say that we are currently at 372 watch hours out of 4,000. Thank you guys so much for all the support this last month. Even though we may not be able to get to 4,000 watch hours by the end of the summer, I do believe that we can get there by the end of 2023. So thank you guys so much for that, and now on to the video. The first character we're going to look at is Bakugo. But before we get into Bakugo's costume, let's first take a look at what Bakugo's quirk is and how it works. Bakugo's quirk is called Explosion, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Using the sweat from his body that is comparable to a nitroglycerine-like substance, Bakugo can make explosions from his palms. The more he sweats, the bigger the explosions can get. However, if he makes too many or too big of an explosion, it causes his arms to ache. And since Bakugo is reliant on his sweat, he tends to be much weaker in cold environments. Now on to Bakugo's costume. There weren't many gadgets added into this costume, only grenade gauntlets and mini grenades, along with some other standard things such as boots, knee guards, a tool belt, gloves, and a mask with a fancy headpiece. The costume had a unique orange and green design with a huge X in the front. His costume also had a neck piece that didn't have any particular function, as most viewers just guessed it's to support Bakugo's neck when he lets off a huge explosion. But the most impressive gadget in Bakugo's costume are his gauntlets that resemble giant grenades. And what makes these gauntlets so impressive is that they store Bakugo's sweat, which allow him to make bigger explosions much easier. Bakugo also wears gloves when he fights to make his hands sweat more, which is the perfect segue into Bakugo's biggest costume change. During Season 5 of My Hero Academia, Bakugo, along with many other characters, had their costumes go through some major changes as the season changed from summer to winter and the temperatures went from hot to cold. And so, to combat Bakugo's biggest weakness, which is fighting in cold weather, Bakugo, and with some help from Best Jeanist, created Bakugo's winter costume. The costume consists of a turtleneck and long sleeves, so all of Bakugo's body is covered just like Best Jeanist. The long sleeve clothing helps Bakugo sweat more while in combat, so he doesn't have to worry about how big of explosions he's creating, as his body is producing just as much sweat in the winter as it would in the summer. A thought I had while making this video is that Bakugo should wear his winter costume year-round. However, if he were to do this in the summer, he definitely would benefit and would be able to make bigger explosions due to him producing more sweat, but then in the winter, they wouldn't be as big and he would basically create the same problem that the winter costume had already fixed. Bakugo's costume also underwent some changes in the World Heroes Mission movie, but since I have yet to watch the film and it isn't a part of the My Hero Academia story, I won't be including it in this video. Now moving on to Deku. We all know what Deku's quirk is, and most of us have a pretty good understanding of how it works, so I'll skip over the quirk explanation. Starting off in Season 1, Deku's outfit was pretty horrible. I know he tried to make his outfit look like All Might and used the jumpsuit his mom had bought him, but in my eyes, he looked like a furry, especially with the green color of his suit and the bunny ears. In the end, the outfit didn't make it through the end of the battle training, and we never saw it again. So I guess you could say that Deku's first real hero costume debuted in Season 2 during the Hero Killer Stain arc. His costume went from a light green to more of a dark green with a little bit of red sprinkled in. The only upgrades was that the costume was equipped with sturdier equipment to help support Deku while he was using One for All. They also changed the way the respirator looked so you couldn't tell that Deku was trying to mimic All Might, and the hood remained, but we never saw Deku actually put it on. Then in Season 3, we saw Deku develop shoot style where he focused on using his legs more in combat to put less of a burden on his arms. For this costume, we saw the addition of iron soles added to his shoes to increase the power of his kick and arm braces to put less strain on Deku's arms. We also saw Deku get Air Force gloves to turn his finger flicks into a more compact blast, almost as if he was using an air gun, which we saw in Season 4 during Deku's fight with Gentle Criminal. Kind of off topic, but I wish Deku would use Air Force more. I know he still uses Air Force a lot to help him move around, but I would have liked to see Deku attack with his legs and fingers more, as they kind of strayed away from it once Deku entered Vigilante mode. And along with Bakugo, Deku was also given a suit upgrade in the World Heroes Mission, but again, not going over it as it isn't a part of the story. The final form of Deku's superhero costume was his Vigilante uniform. I wouldn't really say that there were many upgrades with the costume, as the whole superhero world was kind of in shreds, and there weren't any people Deku could go to for improvements. However, All Might was able to get his hands on some mid-gauntlets from the US to help support Deku's body when he's using One for All. The major changes to this costume was all in the design. His costume was in shreds and added to that dark vibe we felt while watching the Vigilante arc. Deku also added Gran Torino's yellow cape, which was also ripping as he was given the cape as a gift. And for the final part of the costume, we saw the addition of Deku's mask. I kind of forgot that Deku even had the mask since he hadn't worn it since Season 1, but it definitely adds the eerie element that Horikoshi was trying to go for, as we can't see Deku's eyes or face anymore, there's just a glow. So to end this video, I have to say, Deku's costume has definitely gone under more changes and development, but I think Bakugo's costume is the most impactful. I think that if they were to get into a fight with a villain, but didn't have their suits, especially in the winter, Bakugo would definitely be at more of a disadvantage. Deku's costume mainly consists of support items, so if he had to fight without them, I think he'd do just fine, just like during his fight with Muscular. Yeah, he got injured, but he was able to make it through, and now in Season 6, he has a better control of One For All and can use it at a higher impact. Bakugo, on the other hand, if it was during the summer or in a hot environment, he'd probably be okay as his body would be able to produce enough sweat. But in a colder environment, Bakugo would definitely be at a disadvantage. But what do you guys think? Which costume do you think benefits the hero the most? Anyways guys, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, comment Bakugo if you made it to the end of this video and I will heart your comment. Special thanks to Azul and Blue for always clicking first on my videos and watching them all the way through. It is greatly appreciated. And click right here to see why Tanjiro shouldn't be a Hashira.